Okay, I'm back with a slight review, just a little something for those of you who probably know by now from Facebook and from YouTube as well, is that I have an 8 year old who is homeschooled, my daughter. So I just wanted to come at you with a quick kind of sort of review on a product that I think is really good. It's a book. I'm gonna show it. So I'll show it to you. But I actually came back with the intention of giving you a slight review, slight reading of the book. It's called Reading Streets, is what it's called, and it is a. I hope you can see that quite well. I don't think that you can, but in any event, it's called Reading Streets, and it's by Scott Foreman. And okay, it is published by the Pearson Company, and I really think that it's a good product. I purchased it. Probably I received it maybe about a month ago or towards the beginning of this month. This month being August. Today is Monday, August 29th to be exact. And we are beginning our classes for our third grade year in school. She's a third grader now, and like I said to you, she is homeschooled. And I think that this is a reading reader, and for those of you who are within, I guess, my age group, being 47, when we were younger, we had readers, but now, as I've noticed with my other children, 28, 23, 21, and 19, no, they did not have readers. The teacher would actually give out separate books. You would go to the back of the class and you would select a book that you yourself wanted to read. And um, that's good when it comes down to selecting a book that you are interested in. But as well, I really don't care for it because it has its drawbacks or its setbacks, because I have grown accustomed from when I was younger in school that the entire class would actually read the same story, and we would compare notes. We would compare what we thought about the story, and oftentimes no two students, individuals, would feel the same way. So I don't know if it's because I'm old school. I don't know if it's just because it is actually the right thing, but I prefer readers. So what I wanted to do, actually, let me sort of get comfortable yet again. I've said this in other videos, but anyway, let me try to get a little comfortable here, because what I wanted to do, I wanted to give you a slight reading to give you somewhat of a feel for what this book is really like, because again, I really like this book. I appreciate this book. So they have units, and each unit has several chapters in the book. What I can't figure out, maybe because I bought book two of the third grade, because they have grade 3.2, they have grade 3.1, grade 3.1. I did not buy that. I selected grade 3.2, so maybe that's why it's beginning at unit 4, I'm assuming. Maybe, yeah. And as well, let me just say this before we start. I purchased this book from Amazon.com, which is basically where I get a lot of things from. Dare I say everything? Yeah. Um. So this was unit 4. I won't be reading the first chapter. No, I won't. But I will be reading the second chapter. And what it is that at the beginning they point out to you, this story actually is a story of Greek mythology. It is the story of Daedalus and Icarus, which I thought that that was really good, because they are actually exposing younger children to Greek mythology. So it says the story of Daedalus and Icarus. The ancient Greeks told a story about Daedalus, who was a very clever inventor. When he and his son Icarus were imprisoned on an island, Daedalus invented a way to escape. With feathers and thread and wax, he made two pairs of wings. Then he and Icarus flew away. Icarus, excited to be flying, began swooping down towards the sea and looping around his father and zooming up towards the sun. Icarus, Daedalus warned, do not fly too high or the sun will melt the wax on your wings. And don't fly too low or the sea will dampen your feathers. But Icarus paid no attention. He kept soaring higher and higher and drifting closer and closer to the hot and glaring sun. Icarus, Daedalus shouted, come back here right now. I never get to have any fun, Icarus complained. With a giggle, he made another high arc. Suddenly, his wings wobbled. Icarus struggled to stay in flight, but it was too late. The heat from the sun had melted the wax that held his wings together. Icarus fell into the sea and drowned. Okay, so that's like a short story, but I really enjoyed the story, tragedy though it may be, because I guess we can tell that, of course, Icarus died. But as well, what I do appreciate about this story is that the spelling words to the story are actually highlighted in bright yellow. So the student, the child, can pay close or extra attention to those words. And the spelling words, they only give six. That would probably be my eight, yeah, eight spelling words. That would probably be my only complaint, because she being in the third grade, I would want her to have more spelling words, which I can always pull out additional words from the story and give to her as spelling words, so that you can always add on. I'm really not that concerned, but the spelling words being swooping, looping, attention, drifting, complained, giggled, and struggled. Those are the eight spelling words. And okay, mind you, this this unit is focused and geared towards wings. So that would be the main focus of this unit. And that was the first chapter, which was the story of Daedalus and Icarus, which they give the children somewhat of a background, of Greek mythology. Now, the next chapter that they give you to read, and the story is actually entitled Wings. And they give you the genre, and they tell you genre is fantasy. And they go to the extent of outlining for the children what a fantasy actually is. So it says genre. Fantasy. A fantasy is a story in which unbelievable things happen. And then it asks the question, why is the story a fantasy? So the student or the child would have to read the story and decipher and explain to the teacher, parent in my situation, why it is a fantasy. And as I told you before, the title of the story is Wings, and it was written by Christopher Myers. And I will read that to you really quick. So it says, are these wings the only thing that makes this boy special? Okay, look at that strange boy. Everyone from the neighborhood is pointing fingers and watching the sky. How is he doing that? They stretch their necks and shake their heads. Icarus Jackson, a new boy on our block, is flying above the rooftops. He is swooping and diving and looping past people's windows and over crowds. I don't think he's a stranger, or I don't think he's strange. Icarus Jackson, the fly boy, came to my school last Thursday. His long, strong, proud wings followed wherever he went. The whole school was staring, eyes and wagging tongues. They whispered about his wings and his hair and his shoes, like they whisper about how quiet I am. Our teacher complained that the other kids couldn't help but gawk and stare. He said that Icarus's wings blocked the blackboard and made it hard for the students to pay attention. The teacher told Icarus to leave class until he could figure out what to do with his wings. He left the room quietly, dragging his feathers behind him. One boy snickered. At recess, the snicker grew into a giggle and spread across the playground. Soon, all of the kids were laughing at Icarus Jackson. Useless wings. I thought if he flew just once, everyone would stop laughing. Icarus looked up, flapped his wings a couple of times, and then jumped into the air. He swept through the schoolyard like a slow motion instant replay. But the other kids were not impressed. One girl grabbed a basketball. A boy stuffed the handball in his pocket. Somebody nagged. Nobody likes a show off. Their words sent Icarus drifting into the sky, away from the glaring eyes and the pointing fingers. I waited for them to point back at me as I watched Icarus float farther and farther away. Walking home from school, I knew how he felt, how lonely he must be. Maybe I should have said something to those mean kids. I ran through the streets with my eyes to the sky, searching the clouds for Icarus. He struggled to stay in the air. His wings drooped and his head hung low. He landed heavily onto the edge of a building and sat with the pigeons. Pigeons don't make fun of people. A policeman passing by blew his whistle. You with the wings, come down from there. Stay yourself on the ground. You'll get in trouble. You'll get hurt. It seemed to me Icarus was already in trouble and he was already hurt. Could the policeman put him in jail for flying? For being too different? When the neighborhood kids saw the policeman yelling at him, they exploded with laughter. Icarus dropped to the ground. Stop crying. Leave him alone. And they did. I called to Icarus, and he sailed closer to me. I told him what someone should have said long ago. You're flying. It's beautiful. For the first time I saw Icarus smile. It was at that moment I forgot about the kids who had laughed at him and at me. I was just glad that Icarus had found his wings again. Look at that amazing boy, I called to all of the people on the street, and I pointed to my new friend Icarus, swirling through the sky. And that was the end of the story. So after that, they have a reader's response, and it goes on to say, it's for open discussion. That's what it says. If Icarus came to your school, how would you treat him? Tell a story about Icarus and you. So, okay, they're asking for you to give your opinion of what if there was a student that had came to your school, and he could fly. What would you say? How would you treat him? And, how would you behave towards him? But what I'm thinking, she and I will have a brief, in-depth discussion about it, and as well it can raise a discussion about bullying and how you should treat people that are slightly or extremely different from you, be it appearances, disability, any difference that you might encounter in another person. And as well, I will have her write a story or maybe a few sentences, probably more than likely a story. Write a story on what you think about this story, as well, how you would treat someone that you were just meeting for the first time, be it in school or be it just on a day at the park. So yeah. And there's other questions as well, but I'm about to wrap this video up because I don't want it to go into overtime. But personally, I like this book and I really love this story. And there's many of different things that you could do as a homeschooling parent when it comes down to asking your child's questions and having them to respond and give you feedback. So I hope that this video was enjoying. I hope that you liked the story. I hope that you appreciated my narrative of the story. And again, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you at a later date with yet another product or just another topic of discussion. Enjoy the rest of your day.